Yo, it's the Fairy, and I am going to show y'all how I sharpen a 3-blade broadhead. Right there is a prototype of what will become the Ranch Fairy 3-blade broadhead from Toughhead. And I know you guys are going to say, oh my God, Fowler, you're talking about shooting a 3-blade broadhead. Well, there's reasons for that, but they got to be sharp too. So stay tuned, because I try to be logical, and I'm just... yeah, the trolls are going to love this one because I said shoot a 3-blade. So, I totally following the Ranch Fairy who talks about single bevels and cut-on contacts and all that garbage, talking about a 3-blade broadhead. It's mostly because they're easy to sharpen, and there's a lot of people who are comfortable shooting them. And I wanted the correct platform for a 3-blade broadhead before I endorsed any kind of a brand. So, this is the platform and prototype for the 3-blade that'll become the Ranch Fairy 3-blade. This is a 200 grain broadhead that'll be offered in 200 grains, and we'll see if there's other weights we need to put out there, but 200's kind of my base arrow. It's easy to get to around 650 or so, shooting a 100 grain insert and a 200 grain point. It's narrow, right? It's a little over an inch and 1/16 right in there wide, and has a very low angle of attack. It's machined. And it has you see that diamond point on there? A lot of broadheads have a needle point, and that is the greatest weakness of 3-blade broadheads, is the needle point. Kind of has all the features that if I was going to endorse, which I'm endorsing this broadhead, it's going to be coyote brown. It's super cool. Anyway, if I was going to endorse a 3-blade broadhead, like I said, there's a lot of people who love 3-blades, and they are easy to sharpen. So if I had to give you advice, and you do not want to play with a 2-blade broadhead because you feel like you can't sharpen a butter knife, and that's okay, all right? If you don't want to commit to learning to sharpen a 2-blade, these guys, at least you're going to get one piece, machine, low angle of attack, not going to break, structural integrity, and easy to sharpen. So this is going to be a sharpening video on how to sharpen a 3-blade. Step 1, you need some toys. Toys. You need some paper to cut. Because if you try to cut your hair on your arms all the time, you will look like you got the mange. And when you go out and be sexy in your new Speedo, because it's becoming spring, some of you Southern guys are going to be out in your Speedos, and you'll look weird because you'll look like you have the mange with all these bare patches all over your body. So I use paper as my acid test. I check it, and I check it on my arm, but I don't check everything on my arm. I check it with paper first. You need some sharpening stones of some type. This is Sirius's sharpening kit. And you know what? Why this box looks like hell? You know why it doesn't fold up anymore? And everything's kind of beat up, okay? There's a couple of chew marks on there from me using the thing, and the stones aren't perfectly done. There's some dirt on the back. Do you know why this box looks like hell? Because I used the thing. I've had these for 4 months. I am not fond of the unboxing videos where some clown walks up to his U.S. Post Office box and rips open the package and says, I'm going to do an unboxing. And at the end of every one of the unboxing videos, they say, well, that thing will probably work pretty good. Wow. Why in the hell would you trust anybody who hasn't shot it, cut it, done, did, da-da-dee? They're just doing an unboxing video of a brand new toy they just got. So I've had these for 4 months. The little stand, the plates, They got some wear on them. You can see there's chunks and stuff. I've used them and they work. So that's that. And finally, you need a ranch ferry strop. Yep, there's ranch ferry on there. You can get all this stuff at Serious Archery. You go to the Serious Archery website and you click on my face. And in the ranch ferry store, all these items are available for you to sharpen. You can do this with a lot of other things. I'm not saying that's the only solution and you got to buy that stuff, but that's what I use. Obviously, you're one of my sponsors. Why would I not use their stuff? Got that. At least I'm being intellectually honest. One, if I was unboxing the thing brand new out of a UPS package, you should be saying, well, that idiot had never used that thing. That's not happening because I've had them for a long time. My strop's all worn down. Got a bunch of dirt in it and stuff because I've been using that, right? Okay. Again, not an unboxing. I use it. So this is how I sharpen a 3-blade broadhead. I'm going to change the camera angle here because it's going to be easier if I show you placing down there. Hang on. Okay, to be just honest with everybody, because that's how I like to roll, this is Big Mike's trick. Big Mike the Wizard showed me this. You just rip off a piece of paper and you check your broadheads. One of these is sharp and one of these ain't so sharp. So we're going to see which one it is. You just take your piece of paper and you push it down like that, and I believe that's the sharp one. About like that. Okay, you'll get a feel for it. This one, sweet looking skin, like an alligator. This one I've been shooting. I just been pounded in some targets. And when I do that, see how it buckles and doesn't want to bite? It just slides. That's the one we'll sharpen. So that's how you can test it. You can test this anywhere. Just keep some paper in your truck or whatever and check them. That blade's a little okay. It's barely biting. And then, see how it's sliding? Just doesn't want to go. But you get the sharp one on the same piece of paper. And it starts biting right there. So that's the difference. So we are going to sharpen that guy right there because it's a little dull from being blasted through targets and stuff. All right, step one, we use the sharpening stones. So, Serious has this gizmo, and it actually holds the stone. And I really kind of didn't like this thing very much when I started, but I really like it now. So there's four plates essentially in here. 300, 600, 1,000, 1,200, and then you go to the Stropping. So I'm going to start with 300, which is the most coarse. You slide this up like that. Turn these gizmos right here. And it holds the stone pretty snug. I don't tighten it real tight so I can just flip it out. I just want it to sit still. They've engineered it that the edge right here is actually just high enough that you can run over the top. I have bit into the sides a little bit, but it's just a little bit of, there's just a little bit of catch here so that you don't cut this rubber. Okay. 3-blade broadhead. They're 3-sided, so you just keep it even. So I just push a moderate amount of pressure and I just flip it each time. So I'm going to do 12 strokes. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay. Flip the stone to the 600 side. And just the same thing.
I'm going to do 9 strokes here. So the bevel is set.
because you're setting it like this, the bevel can't get off. It's just set. It's both points of contact are touching. It's kind of idiot proof, right? That's the nice thing about a 3-blade is the bevel set. It doesn't wander around. When you're doing 2 blades like this, sometimes you can get a little wonky and it'll offset it a little bit, but by setting it flat and just pushing, you'll be fine. Go to 1,000, just like that. 9 more. Okay, looking pretty sexy. See how it's starting to get shiny? See how the blades are getting shiny all the way around? Occasionally wipe these off just to get the dust and stuff off of them. Okay, and then 1200 grit. Here we go. 9 more. What you'll feel is, in the beginning, it's a rougher stone, but the steel's also rough, and it doesn't slide real clean. You'll develop a feel for it. Right now, it feels real smooth. I'm putting moderate amount of pressure. Again, we're getting real shiny edges. A little bit of goop right there. Okay. Now, I'm gonna check it. That was the one that the blade, it was just sliding down the blade. And now it's cutting real nice. That was really fast, right? Really fast sharpening. Look at that. So it went from, you know, when I was rubbing on it and it was buckling and rolling over to that quickly. That's already a pretty darn good sharp hunting edge. Beautiful, really good. All right, final step that I like to take is the strop. Strops always go backwards. This is the rough side of the strop. This is the smooth side of the strop. Got some dirt and stuff on it, okay? So, the serious folks have made a big, wide, long strop, and it helps your strokes. So, strops always go backwards. You do not want to cut into the leather. You're gonna pull it, just like one, and one. Just keep going. We'll do 9, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Now I'm going to wipe it off a little bit. Okay. Just for fun, see what we did here. Really, it feels real slick when it cuts now. It was grabbing beforehand. There was a little bit of grab, and you'll feel it when you do it. That's why the paper's nice. Earlier, it was a little feeling. Now it's just slicker than snot. I mean, it's just really, really nice. That's good. Okay. Finally, we will go to the smooth side. And I actually like to do a lot of strokes on the smooth side. The more I strop on the smooth side of the strop, the better the edge gets. So, just full length, and this is real light pressure, like the weight of the broadhead. Don't push, just polish it. It kind of self-centers on itself when you go backwards. It just wants to travel the straights, like the point drags or something. It's real consistent. So I'm gonna do like 21. Don't count my strokes, I lost count. It's important when you're using the stones to keep it even, because you're moving the bevel around and you're actually cutting the steel off. The strop is not as critical to get a perfect amount of strokes because the strop doesn't change the edge. The strop just polishes it. Just real light pressure, like the weight of the broadhead. Make sure it's nice and smooth on there. But if you're using the stones, you want to make sure that you keep it even, because those stones are chewing a little bit of steel off every time. And it can change the bevel just a little bit, and that change will continue to follow you through the whole process. And you might end up with an edge. You'll have two of them that are crazy sharp and one of them that's kind of weird, but you can strop for days. Okay. Again, ripped off another piece of paper. This thing's pretty slick, so if it pushes back at all, the broadhead will slide. Golden. It feels like nothing when it cuts. It's super greasy slick. It's hard to describe until you do it. I could feel it dragging just a little bit in the paper. The paper's actually fibrous. When you look at it with like a microscope, the paper's it's woven. But man, when you cut it now, it's just super smooth. And that is when you're there. So the strop really doesn't move the edge around. It just improves the edge and makes it greasy slick. Give it 5 or 6 more. All right, I'm gonna change the camera around. So as I said, I shoot 2 blades. I love the single bevel stuff and all that good stuff. But if I can get people to take the next step in their journey and dare to get something that has high structural integrity, low angle of attack, it isn't terribly wide, it's not gonna cause a lot of problems. Like some of the real short, blunt ones have very abrupt angles like this, and that is just gonna cause resistance. There's this guy named Newton. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. So when you have a very low angle of attack, the pressure exerted this direction is a whole lot less. More to come on that. Me and Rocket Man are trying to work on that. It's pretty difficult to figure out how to get an entry pressure and the exit pressure, but we're working on that because he's super smart. One of the things that the Tough Head does have, you see that diamond point on there? A lot of broadheads have a needle point, and that is the greatest weakness of 3-blade broadheads, is the needle point. I mean, it can come way out and get real pointy, and if you hit something moderately hard, if that tip bends over, it's probably gonna redirect the broadhead, but it's gonna blunt. I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense. Okay, if it doesn't, but a really pointy point is not your goal. You want this a pyramid. Once again, we know 3 pyramids and triangles are very stable objects. So that's why I'm going to support this broadhead for people who want to make the jump, but they're really worried about sharpening a 2-blade broadhead, which can be, it takes a commitment to do that. This thing, you saw how easy that was. I took it from barely rubbing on the paper was just dragging down to cutting real clean. A couple of things I said during the discussion on the sharpening. The paper sends feedback to you. That's what's nice about the paper. And then as you smooth it out and go higher grit, up to the 1,000 and the 1,200, when you cut the paper, it's just a cleaner feeling. And then when you get down and you start stropping, it gets to the point when it cuts, it feels like butter going through it. And that's the edge you want. When you get to that point that it'll cut and it doesn't drag much, so that's when you shave your arm. Can't really tell I was taking the hair off my arm because I'm not the hairiest beast on the earth, but it is scary. So that's how I sharpen a 3-blade broadhead, and I want to reiterate, I've said this 3 times already in this video. I'm a 2-blade guy, I love the stuff, but man, if I can get somebody, my goal in 2022 is to get people to take the next 2 steps forward. So if I could get you to tune your arrows and go to the Ranch Fairy store and get a tuning kit and get your arrow flight perfect, the first 2 factors, structural integrity is easy. Buy something that has high structural integrity, right? So you get out of the screw together stuff with the cheap blades on it that shred up and get all dinged up and might cost you some game over time. And then the second one is perfect arrow flight. If I could get you to do perfect arrow flight and shoot this, a 1-piece, modular, super tough, not gonna fail broadhead, you've advanced. Easy to sharpen, okay? That's why I'm supporting it. And it's not super wide. It's a nice, low angle of attack, high penetration tool. If, you just take the next step, because you know what happens, like fishing. Right? There's never enough freaking toys on the planet that you need to go fishing or hunting, and there's never enough broadheads and toys. If you'll make this step, then you may say, hey, I want to try to learn to sharpen a 2-blade broadhead or a single bevel or something like that and make the move, and you can come back to Sirius or wherever, whatever brand you choose, but we're going to have all the best stuff at toughhead.com, and you can take that step. And we're not trying to upsell you along the way, but people are curious. I get tons of emails to the tune of 1,000 a month starting in May and all the way through September. I get 1,000 messages a month about arrow flight, about tuning, about broadhead choices, and lots of sharpening questions. Like I said, this is the next step, right? Get rid of your modular broadheads that have all the moving parts and exchangeable blades and all that good stuff and vents and everything, and go to something that's built like a hammer, and it will outperform. And there's a lot of satisfaction, to be real honest. It's old school, but there's a lot of satisfaction in building an arrow, bare shafting an arrow, then buying arrows that match that bare shaft. You did it yourself. It shoots for your bow. You know it's flying, and you know the work you put in, and then go into something that's easy to sharpen, sharpening it yourself and shooting a critter with it. It's super rewarding. So like I said, 2022, I'm trying to get everybody to take 2 more steps forward. The biggest one, structural integrity is easy. Buy tough head stuff. They don't break. The arrow flight thing is probably the most difficult part of the 12 factors, the most time consuming, and quite frankly, the most beneficial part of archery is if you can get a perfectly flying arrow that delivers the broadhead on target with a maximum amount of efficiency at impact, and it doesn't waste energy. It doesn't waste any more energy than it has to penetrate because it's flying sideways. If it's flying sideways, that doesn't help a thing. All right, I'm the Ranch Fairy, SiriusArchery.com, Ranch Fairy store, great place to get stuff. All these tools are there, the gizmo, the strop, the broadheads, all that good stuff. Pick whatever you want to sharpen with, that's fine. We just said, hey, we're gonna offer this. We, at Toughhead and at Sirius, we offer broadheads that you have to sharpen. Why wouldn't we have a sharpening kit to sharpen those things? Care what you use, but we might as well have the whole package. So click on my face and that'll be fine. More to come. This is the Ranch Fairy. Subscribe, I guess, if you want to. It's fine. If you don't want to, I believe this is still a pretty moderately inexpensive free country, and you can do just whatever the hell you want to do. I just here to help everybody put stuff down very efficiently. There's no reason to go chasing around. Bow hunting's enough work. Why should you chase your critter all over the damn place? Shoot them with a real broadhead, perfect arrow flight, right in the vital V. They go 50 yards, you pick them up and get out of there. There's no reason to extend your hunting experience when you've already put in 14 days of hunting, it's raining, and you whack one and they run 50 yards. That's way better. I don't want to be chasing around for 4 hours. That's boring. Late.